Hey there, everybody. Welcome to this episode of the Higher Ed Geek Podcast, episode number 47 with Brian Chaney. He reached out and we scheduled a chat a little bit ago. It was really nice to have him kind of seek out the show. He is a very self-affirmed and kind of passionate geek and nerd in his own right, and works at Smart College Marketing, the founder and CEO there. So he has relevant interests and shares his story and the things that he's into, and really how kind of social gaming has shaped his life and helped improve it and had a positive impact. So definitely love that. And just appreciate his time and all that he shared and him reaching out. So without further ado, here is episode number 47 with Brian Chaney. Longtime friend of the Higher Ed Geek podcast, Brian Leduc, has launched his latest project in the form of a course called Student Affairs Futures. Check out studentaffairsfutures.com for lifetime access to this growing resource on the impact of AI, changing demographics, and the future of work on the student affairs profession. Exclusively for listeners of the Higher Ed Geek podcast, he's offering a discount for the first 50 course enrollments. Use the promo code HigherEdGeek50, that's all one word, for 50% off the course. It's a $250 value, and prepare your career for the emerging future of student affairs ahead. Yeah, I mean, we'll start out as we always do. And, this is really also new to me with you reaching out. I appreciated that. And, to learn from my own satisfaction, edification, a little bit more about your background and your journey, and, also for our listeners, obviously. So, just give a quick introduction of yourself and how you got to be where you are today.
Yeah, so my name is Brian Chaney, and I work with Smart College Marketing, but I've ran a marketing company here for 8 years now. I mean, it's funny. I went to college. I went to a private college back in 2000. Graduated with an English degree. Mm-hmm. Then went into doing surveys for Philip Morris for like 3 years. So didn't use my degree at all. And then really just had this passion for marketing and web and just all things web. And went to a company for a while doing their e-commerce, but then just had this itch to get started and do marketing for people. And I've been doing that, like I said, for 8 years now, just in a variety of industries.
Well, and I guess, do you think the English major part of you, it's sort of a segue to the next question. I get, it's kind of where my brain went, but I know things manifesting in different ways. When I was growing up, I say this a lot on the show, I always thought I was going to be an author, but then I started blogging and contributing to other folks' sites and stuff. So it's I feel like I kind of scratched that existential itch that way. And I was in radio, TV. So I'm kind of doing audio stuff now. So do you feel if maybe that part of your college experience still kind of resonates with you, stuff that you learned or other stuff that you were involved in when you were in college, anything that kind of still comes up personally and or professionally?
Well, I guess I can back up just a little. So what's funny is I am one of the things I gravitated towards your show is I am a geek, and I'm not like a Reddit level, number, finding symbols and numbers and stuff. I'm not that, hardcore. But, growing up, I love science fiction, love fantasy. And I got an English degree because I thought that I wanted to be an author, same thing. Mm-hmm. And what's funny is my dad is a computer programmer. And back when, way before Windows was even created, my dad was a programmer. And I realized that, as much as I love the media and I love science fiction and all that, at heart I'm a problem solver, and I kind of fought that going to college with an English degree, but in the end, the reason I love marketing is because it is problem solving. Now I still get my fix. I still go to every movie I want to see, and I still game and all that stuff. But at its heart for my career, I love marketing, and I love it because not because I love it because it is a problem solver. You're trying to get inside people's heads and make them do something. And it's hard. It's hard. You think you read a blog article and you think you haven't figured out, but it's just not that easy.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a little bigger version of my kind of journey.
Well, I guess too, like when you're in college, I think because like usually like K through 12, like you're not really maybe exercising a lot of different like skills or interests or like those sort of things. And, you mentioned like just knowing like you're really, good problem solver, you enjoy doing that or, kind of, and all that kind of stuff. Like, cause I think college can help you like explore those things more or, just, just learn more about yourself and maybe try things and be like, oh, I like this, or this is too much of this or none of that, or I guess like the college ideal, just like exploring and finding yourself. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that through my college experience, what's funny is my English courses, I'm just a very stubborn person. And so I went through and I did not change my degree, but if I'm honest with myself, the English courses were the least interesting to me. And I wish I had changed my major because it was, the math and the science, that stuff I killed it on. I loved it. But when it came to English, even though that was, my major, that's where I just did not, I struggled through it and I didn't listen to myself. And again, that's why, 15 years later, that's why I find myself as a marketer.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's what's interesting is like, I think it's something on a broader point and what maybe caused it, I'm not sure. But like, I feel like that's something that we've encouraged students of today to be a little bit more comfortable with in that journey of self-discovery is like, it's okay to change your major. Like, especially, it may be better to do it earlier than later, but, changing your major, like if it is making sure that you're, learning about the things that you're interested in and aligning more with the career goals that you have and all that. Like, it's like, maybe some people's personality is just like, whether it's stubbornness or it's like, yes, at times it may be very illogical or, irrational to change your major because it's like, well, I'm wasting time. I want to keep it on a schedule and those sort of things. But, I mean, that's, just kind of like how it goes sometimes. And maybe that's at least, it's like, you know what? Yeah, I'm on this path. I'll at least make sure that like the other classes I'm taking or other things that I'm getting involved in, at least are kind of, nourishing me or, kind of nurturing different interests or whatever. So, one way or another, can kind of work out.
Exactly. And I wish the college I went to, it was a private college and they did not encourage us to do any internships or anything like that. I mean, none of my friends did internships, and I wish I had because that experience. We have interns come through our company, and it's so cool just to see them, kind of figure out what they like, and they get to do hands-on stuff. And again, I just wish that I had taken a internship at a ad shop or something like that, just to kind of get my hands dirty and kind of see what the real world was like.
Yeah. Well, I guess, I mean, you're immersed kind of now in your current work and perhaps giving those formative experiences to other like college students or other folks, through those internships and stuff. So, the path that you led has brought you to where you are today. And you alluded already a little bit to the things that you kind of enjoy most about your current work. But I guess, like if there's anything that maybe is like an anecdote or an example, just like something of like, that you enjoy most about your current work or just anything that's kind of like got you excited, like that you're looking forward to or anything like that.
Yeah, I think the technology is just incredible. It changed so rapidly. It changes so rapidly. We're seeing, Facebook and Instagram and other platforms just basically coming into their maturity still. And, if you look at the last, 10 years, Facebook is still so young. Instagram is a baby. And I love, watching them grow up. And as a marketer, seeing different ways that we can, use those tools and use them in a way that's non-intrusive so that, we're just kind of a part of the community versus, a outside attacker to the community. And just, like I said, just watching the way people think and what gets them to react is so interesting to me. There's a lot of marketing that you kind of learn where it's like, you do these 6 steps and then somebody buys a product, and it's just not true. Like maybe there are 6 steps, but those 6 steps change all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And you think about the way that you interact with the web, or even you think about your phones. I mean, 5 years ago, most people didn't have a smartphone. Maybe it's been a little longer than that. Maybe it's 6, 7 years now. Now everybody does. And so just, changing our messaging and how we work with marketing with the changing technology is just, I love it. And that's kind of one of the many things that I geek out on.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it always kind of keeps you engaged and challenged. And because I think it's, print media or anything like that, it's like it's been around for a while, and I think people, it's like, if you're marketing, it's like, we kind of know how to, if you had like all the resources in the world, if you're really trying to like, get a certain result, you'd probably know exactly what to do with that. But it's like, like how you're framing it, like the new like digital platforms are like reaching a certain point of maturation, where I think they're figuring out how best to have like the user experience, but also like on the advertisers and like how can we make it work best for everybody, so that like users can maybe like opt in or out of certain things or certain way, like seeing certain things or anything like that. And then like I don't know, it is just very interesting. So I think it's like at certain points, like like how you're saying, like maybe start to literally think like, how do I like interact with things? It's like sometimes it seems so like irrational, like it doesn't make any sense what I do or don't click on. But at other times it's like I don't know. Yeah, I mean, certainly the advent of like social video, like something like that might be compelling. Of like, I'll probably watch something compelling, and like images. If it's good, I might not scroll past it, might linger, or check out, something. So, it's.
Well, and if you even think about, Instagram and Facebook, they're very different. And I don't know if you use both. I know you're active on Instagram, but the way that people interact with each, even though they're owned by Facebook, is different. And so the way that you talk to somebody on Instagram is way, way, way different than the way you talk to somebody on Facebook. And again, just I find that fascinating.
Yeah. Well, and I guess too, the idea that like, when you are getting social ads, they're attempting to be contoured to your interest, and it's like whole other conversation of surveillance or whatever. But it's like from a certain perspective, if it's done well, and again, that's where there's some values that you can like, be like, hey, I don't want to see this, sort of opt out of it or something. But in a perfect world, it's like, I'm seeing things. And I think that's what, when I was still kind of thinking through that, is like I'll stop on things because like it is like more catered to me. And it might be like, oh, I am interested in seeing, what's up with this watch, or what's up with this, because I've kind of been getting into like the, like style boxes, because I'm like, like I feel like I need some new clothes, and like, seeing now like different ones, they'll be like, oh, like our, angle is this, or we, do this more or that, So it's just really, that's what's great, because I sometimes see like billboards, and I'm like, I'm sure so many people see that billboard, but they absolutely have no idea how many people did, or how effective it was, or if anybody actually like did, took any action based on that billboard.
Well, that's kind of one of my, schools. We talked to a lot of schools and in their marketing departments, and they really, we had a guy last week say, we put a lot of our money into radio because that's where the ears are for potential students. And like, I don't know about you, but I haven't listened to the radio in 2-3 years. Like I have a Spotify account. And but like there's those things like you're saying, you're alluding to, billboards, I can't count how many eyeballs or what actions were taken or all those things. But again, with digital being so new, while those things still work, people are just comfortable with them instead of, where again, all the eyeballs are on digital, right? People are still looking at billboards. People are still listening to the radio and all of those things, but they're just less effective, less quantifiable, but they're comfortable to a lot of people.
Mm-hmm. And sometimes it can be
So,
like, what are your goals? If it's just like, we want to raise awareness, that can sometimes maybe
yeah,
just be a hard thing to measure, but it's like a billboard would probably be very effective to build awareness.
yeah.
Um,
But but
yeah.
but if you think about the style boxes, which one thing that's interesting is Amazon is getting into that space now too. Um, which again is just another interesting thing, how the big conglomerates just like eat up startups left and right. But the style boxes, like those are not through the radio. Those are not through billboards. They make millions and millions of dollars by doing social video. That's probably how you see most of it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just kind of social is where the eyeballs are. And yeah, so again, I find all that very interesting.
Yeah. Well, cool. I mean, you mentioned like this is, and it's very apparent, something that you geek out about. So if it's, anything else like professionally or just like personally, we can dig into anything like that you might want to recommend, as well. But like what do you geek out about currently? If it's maybe just like thematically, like you mentioned, being maybe into like sci-fi or gaming or anything like that. Like, is it stuff that you've always been into for all your life or stuff that you've discovered recently? But yeah, like what's capturing your attention lately?
Yeah. So one thing is I've got two kids. I've got a 6-year-old and a 2-year-old. And so my geeking time is at a minimum, but you can't see my office right now. It's actually like my man cave downstairs. But I got my 6-year-old. I sent you a picture of my 6-year-old.
Yeah.
He is all in on Star Wars. That dude, he knows more about like the intricacies of the Star Wars universe than anybody I know. And what's amazing is he has seen A New Hope, and that is it. He's not seen any of the other movies, but he has all these books and encyclopedias on Star Wars. My man cave, the walls are lined with Star Wars puzzles that we put together. So Star Wars is a big part of my life right now, mostly because I really enjoy it, but my 6-year-old really enjoys it. He asked me the other day, he asked me something about what, like Mustafar, which is where Darth Vader has his temple. That he said it used to be a Jedi place. Like, what happened, Dad? And I'm like, I had to look at Mustafar because I didn't remember what that was. But that's just the way his little head works. But personally, I'm into all that, into the Marvel Universe movies. Infinity War, I'm very disappointed that was a 2-part movie, but I'm currently playing through SpiderMan on PS4.
Yes.
Trying to get that done before Red Dead Redemption comes out. I don't know if you're a PS4 gamer.
Yeah.
I do. I do. Like I cut my teeth on World of Warcraft. Don't really play anymore on that. I'll kind of revisit that every once in a while. But yeah, most of the stuff in terms of current geek out is movies. Watching through like Maniac or something. There's a new Netflix movie, TV show that's really good. With So that's kind of where I go.
I'm currently enjoying that the PS4 Spider-Man game as well. It is very good. I will pretty much buy any like Spider-Man game that they've made. Like, but I will say this is probably one of the best ones.
It is. The web slinging is incredible.
Yes. Which is obviously like a crucial component. Like it should be good, but for some reason something other parts are kind of the main focus. But like the webbing is very good.
Yeah. I'm really enjoying it, and it is beautiful, and the web slinging is just, it's flawless. It's incredible. The middle, I'm in kind of the middle, and it's getting a little repetitive, but still really enjoying it.
Yeah. Because I think it's like, I got to the part where they kind of allow you to like fast travel, which I'll probably do, but it's like, because I was also thinking where it's like, obviously like that is Spider-Man's thing, is webbing around, but it's also like we also have to like you have to like web around the city. So it's like if it was like a chore or really annoying or just like bad
Yeah.
mechanics, it would derail the game.
Yeah.
And there's also just like there's a beauty. They put in a lot of work replicating New York City. So it's nice to like swing around, because it's like at some point you just fast travel everywhere and just like go the shortest path there. But it is very very well done.
I have fast travel, but I haven't done any of it because I just enjoy the experience. And then when you start, the music gets like super epic.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean it's great. It's great.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. So we'll definitely link out to that, because I would highly recommend it for anybody that has a PS4.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I got like the digital deluxe one, so like the DLC and stuff. I'm just like I'm here for it, man. I'll play through everything again, because I feel like it's such a fun game. Like I usually am not a completionist, but I'm like, yeah, I'll swing around and get a bunch of little collectibles and do whatever, So yes, it's very good. And okay. Yeah. Well, I feel like with your kid though too, it's like I guess I assume that he knows there's probably more movies, but I also feel like it might like blow his mind where it's like, yeah, there's like a bunch more movies, a couple TV shows, some comic books, like like what?
Well, what's funny is he knows they exist, and he knows like we just showed him A New Hope. He just turned 6. We just showed him New Hope, and and we just maybe protect him a little more than we need to, but just some of the, like even in A New Hope, I don't know if you remember, there's a scene where it's very tame, but there's a couple scary scenes for a kid, like when Princess Leia is being interrogated and there's like that round monster robot with the needle.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a couple scenes like that, but it's just funny. He'll say they're his favorite movies, but he's only seen A New Hope, and he knows the other ones exist because again, I guess it's cheating, but he's read these little kid books on that are about the movies.
Gotcha.
So,
well, he's got a lot of good stories left to kind of see unfold there. But but I guess that's one thing, like as a parent, you can like share these things that you're into with them, and that's obviously like a great bonding experience. So I guess anything else like that, or if you have like any communities based around other stuff that you're into, like how do you see your hobbies and interests or like positively contributing to your life, even if it's, I guess, maybe just like the relaxation and kind of like, stress reduction or whatever, like, it's always cool because I know some people do have like, a lot of kind of depth to their hobbies and what it means to them.
Yeah, I think so. A couple things. One, I work when I work, I work hard. And so having those hobbies, it is like a release or relaxation for me. But one of the things and a lot of people roll their eyes at this. So I was heavily into World of Warcraft. And are you familiar with World of Warcraft at all?
Yeah, I played it a bit back in the day. Yeah.
Okay, so I was heavy in it, and I was part of a guild, and we raided, you get 40 people together to take down, monsters. And again, sounds really stupid, but one of the cool things out of that is, with social gaming, I learned leadership. And that sounds so silly, but like nerds take their games really, really seriously. And so it is like military style if you're like really into it. And so just learning like how to communicate with people, how to get people to work together. It really, like, that is one of the things that set me off onto, being a leader, being an entrepreneur, and being able to kind of do it successfully, strangely enough.
No, yeah. If you're doing it right, that's I feel like the proper end product. So that's good.
Yeah. Yeah. Who says you can't learn anything from games, right?
Mm-hmm. That's really cool.
No, and I've got a group of us that get together regularly, and we do what we call snobby movie night, and we'll get just older movies, classics or not, and kind of watch them, and then watched we watched A Streetcar Named Desire and Raging Bull and some of those movies. So I like to do that, and we'll discuss them and just talk about what they mean and what was going on during that time period. And because a lot of movies, it's now movies are kind of more pop entertainment. Back then movies had a lot more social resonance. Like whatever was going on in society kind of was reflected through movies. And we got some of that now still, but it's just not it doesn't permeate like it used to. So it's just interesting to talk through those. And that's kind of my biggest thing.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, like, movies can be enjoyed sort of like, in a vacuum or on your own or whatever, but it's nice, like set them in their like historical context and also like talk about them with people. And because like I'm sure 5 people are going to have 5 different point of views on the same movie. And and I think, and sometimes it's just like a practical thing of like, well, there was less movies made back in the day. So like, now it's just like, they're all just kind of like bubble gum, like pop, you kind of chew them up, spit them out. And there's some outliers there, but I mean, there's some, they're classics for a reason.
Exactly. Yeah. Nobody's watching Aquaman and then talking about how society and what Aquaman was really thinking and the things. So.
Yeah. Well, and then the idea is like approaching it and understanding and accepting it for what it is. It's like, this is just entertainment. Exactly. And certain times it's like, yes, because I always joke where it's like, I take my entertainment very seriously, and it's like, kind of this like, oxymoron or whatever. But like thinking critically about them, because like, I think, like a movie can just be entertainment and just be fun. You check your brain at the door and enjoy it. And then, but like, the good and the great movies are going to have a little bit more depth and meaning and, perhaps set in a certain context or just be like really visually interesting and, or just doing something like really creative with the medium, because it's like, yes, we have been making movies for decades. So like, please do something like, different. Well,
that's right. I don't know if you listened to or watched Westworld. Did you watch all that?
I've watched like a couple episodes. I think I had like a HBO trial that like lapsed, so I dabbled. Yeah.
Oh, I can't dabble in Westworld. And then that's one where the first season was amazing, excellent, and really it just made a huge impact. And then I was very disappointed with the second season. It was just like complicated for complication's sake, which is kind of a typical Nolan move. So, but I'm excited about Game of Thrones coming out next year sometime. Excited about the conclusion. That's another one of my favorites.
Yeah, I get it. I fell off on that one too. There's like
you fell off on Game of Thrones.
I did, yeah. Because I think it's part of it's like, again, like the access is like at this point I can and should pay for HBO, but I just had like all this other stuff that I was watching, so I think I like forgot that I fell. So it's like I'm also now like reaching like kind of my breaking point with some other shows. I think like a Westworld, like a Game of Thrones will probably fill those gaps, because I've like watched like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Flash, Arrow, Legends of Tomorrow, Supergirl, like Black Lightning, and like all these shows, and it's like, well, some of those are getting a little bit long in the tooth, so I'll probably drop off those. But then it's like Doctor Who looks like it might be good again. I didn't watch that for like 3 seasons. So it's like I feel like I'm probably gonna replace, because I also just it's like acknowledging the lack of time and wanting to be able to balance work, video gaming, my wife, and like others. So it's like I try to fit the time, and like so, and just like almost like being like I don't want to watch like 20 shows at once. It's like I want to try to like enjoy a couple of them. So I think with like Game of Thrones, it's like, okay, knowing that it's going to end, I'll probably just like watch through all of it, or because like at this point it'd be hard to like pick up where I left off, but just be able to like go through, because like I watched like Walking Dead for a long time, and that was getting long in the tooth, and they're like, we're never gonna end it. And I'm like, well, geez, okay. So I think that's sometimes what's hard. Did you
give up on Walking Dead?
Yeah, I think I ended. Like I watched the premiere where like Negan like killed a bunch of people, because I'm just like, that's not like for me. Like I don't because it's been on for so long too, it's like, you know, it's like a very severe term, but it's like torture porn where you're just watching people suffer for like an hour every single week. And I'm like, okay, maybe I'll come back to it again. Like when I know like this story arc is not just going to be like, no, it's going to be like 12 more seasons of people just like suffering in the wasteland. And I'm like, wow, okay. You know, like I was like, I need a palate cleanser. And I think like I kept up with it pretty religiously for a while. So I'm like, you know, I just needed a break, I think.
Yeah. I've stayed up to date on it. But it is like, it was a season of just part 2 from the previous season. And it was just excruciating.
Yeah. Cause I think even, like the Marvel TV shows and some of them, it's like, if they don't know, like they don't know what kind of end they have in mind. So it's like, okay, we have to fill story in perpetuity.
Yes.
But then also, I think just like the angle that they take. Yeah. Like,
Yeah, and even like the DC ones, like you mentioned, Flash and Green Arrow, like those, I enjoy those, but they all like blend into this like teenage angst, kind of soap opera, mesh. It just, like you're saying, they don't have a arc in mind, so they're just like trying to keep it alive one more season.
Yes, and it is very broody.
I enjoy it, but I do want to kind of know, are we headed somewhere?
And I'm curious because they're going to bring in Batwoman and Gotham into this like DC TV universe. So I think they'll probably have me for at least one more season of all these shows or something. But I still have to catch up on Supergirl. I got to put everything else. But now everything's coming back for the fall. So
I haven't watched any Supergirl. I heard it's really good.
Yeah. I mean, it's worth, and that's the other thing too. Like if you're binging it versus, watching it week to week. Like I was able to, partnering with Netflix, like the CW shows, like you can download them for offline viewing when they're on Netflix, which is usually pretty soon after the season ends. So when I was commuting, I was like downloading episodes, and I'd do like at least one each way, and that helped get through some of those. But so it's like trying to get creative, or like when I'm traveling, like preload before like a long flight or something. It's
interesting for you to say it like that, because it's like our entertainment is like almost a chore to keep up with.
Right.
Like, well, I guess I can fit this in when I'm, working out, and then I can do this when I'm commuting. Yeah, that's funny.
Mm-hmm. Like schedule things out a month in advance or something. Yeah. Just like I'll do a 2-hour block of this show here. Cause then it's like, that doesn't even mention all the like movies I want to see in the theater or whatever,
Exactly.
So and it's interesting. Yeah.
Now that Movie Pass is gone. I rode that wave.
Yeah. No, and I think, I was like tempted by it. And I think I might like just try to do something at like a local theater, because now everybody's trying to replicate their own sort of subscription movie model. Because it's like, I was just talking about that with somebody, and I feel like we've now gone down a wonderful wormhole. So I think we'll try to wrap up here soon. But I think because it's all great stuff. And what I was mentioning, and I'm surprised, I guess I didn't jump in on those passes, but because like seeing a movie in the theaters, I'll watch a movie at home and I'm in my own space, but there's also like distraction. So it's like, it's comfortable, but it's almost like too comfortable. If I see a movie in a theater, I'm like, my phone's away, my attention is solely on the screen, and it's like the optimal movie seeing experience. But when I like watch movies at home, it's like, oh, it's just on my TV, and I might be like, oh, let me throw in a load of laundry, let me like do this, or like my dog needs to go out halfway through. So it's like, as much as I can get to the theaters, I like to, especially for a movie that's good for it. But
absolutely.
But well, I guess on that point, we've talked our opinions about many things, so folks at least have kind of some little nudges on those. But I mean, like anything else, I think we've talked a lot about like movies and TV. So I don't know if you you mentioned Spotify, if you've got a good playlist that you want to recommend, or like podcast, or just, like something that you're reading maybe, but anything else specific that you'd like to give a tip of the hat to that we could include in the show notes?
Yeah. Well, I'll say, I do a lot of reading, and most of it's boring business books. But I will throw out a book recommendation. There is a book from Jesse Eisler called Living with a Seal. Have you heard of this?
I had not.
It is so good, and I'm somebody that I do not, in my DNA, I do not have discipline, and I have to work at discipline. And this guy, he's just rich, and has started all these businesses. And I guess he was bored, so he hires a Navy SEAL to live with him for a month and train him, and take him through all the training that the SEALs would do, runs, in the ice and snow, all that stuff. And it's a really good book. It's an interesting read if you grab it on Audible. He narrates it, and it's entertaining, but it's just really good to kind of, just really learn how to push yourself and how to, find discipline. Another really good book for anybody in the business world or in higher education is The One Thing. It's another one about focusing your energy, focusing what you do, focusing what you work on. I know in higher education, there's so many different things trying to grab our attention, right? And there's all these departments, there's all these different areas that everybody needs something, right? And so what we end up doing is a lot of mediocre things. And what The One Thing talks about is, why do a bunch of mediocre things when you can do one excellent thing, and just kind of put your focus behind that. So those are two great books if you're into like self improvement and just being more productive, and those are two big recommendations I'd have.
Very good stuff. It tends to be what I read most of the time too.
Rounding out all the nerdiness with some wisdom.
Yeah. Good stuff. And anything else that you'd want to include in the show notes, just feel free to send along afterwards. I'm always happy to kind of just put a whole bunch of stuff down in the resources and show notes. But so we'll end the episode as we always do on an optimistic note. So what are what is something or things that you are looking forward to in your job, life, and or the world?
Yeah, I am really looking forward to finding out more about the next Star Wars movie. I'm hoping they wrap it up in the clean up the mess that was episode 8. There's a lot of professionally, there's a lot of things I'm looking forward to. I just learning more, and there's just stuff that you learn that every day that is changing, and I just look forward to that period. And beyond that, man, I don't know if you played Red Dead Redemption 1, but it was an incredible game, and so I'm very, very much looking forward to the sequel, as well as the sequel to The Last of Us.
Good call. I think I forgot about that one. And again, it's a gift and a curse, really, I guess, but because I very much am a dabbler and sampler, and I played a little bit of the first Red Dead Redemption, and I think I've just never been huge into westerns. I don't know if it didn't grab me, but I did appreciate it. I was this is just incredibly well done, as much of what Rockstar does. I was more a fan of Grand Theft Auto, but I think that's been long anticipated, and I did also really enjoy the first Last of Us game.
The first Last of Us, I cried. a little girl. I mean, it was great.
Yeah. Yeah. It's very well done. Cause I mean, like, in its basic sense, it's just sort of like a survival horror, game, but it's like, it's so much more than that.
Yeah.
It's so well done. And
it's like a great movie, a very long interactive movie.
Which is what I love. That's like a really good time for me. Like I'm not as much into, necessarily like, competitive multiplayer stuff. It's like good, sit down, like single player story and stuff. So, I've got a couple of games on my list I got to get to in that category. So, just got to keep pressing through because I try to just like play one thing at a time. But, so I mean, all good stuff and some good stuff to look forward to and stuff you've recommended. So I appreciate you making the time and sharing all that you did. And we'll have ways to connect with you and stuff you do down in the show notes. So just thanks again, and just have a good rest of your week here.
All right. Well, thank you so much.
This podcast is part of the ConnectEDU Podcast Network, bringing together diverse voices in the higher ed community. Check us out on Twitter at ConnectEDUPod or at ConnectEDU.network. Thanks for listening to this episode of the podcast. Make sure to rate, review, and subscribe so you never miss an episode. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you in the next episode of the Higher Ed Geek Podcast.